of autism is that they don't do that social, fun, interactive kind of stuff. So for example, playing peekaboo, young children will often break out into laughter because it's fun and there's a smile attached to it and they giggle. Young children with autism tend not to do that, and they're often not comforted by touch, which can be very disconcerting, certainly to young families, to parents, and to siblings. In the communication area, we talk about people with autism having difficulties both in verbal and nonverbal domains. We very often see a delay or even a lack of talk. Young children with autism will sometimes begin to develop language and then it'll abruptly stop. In many cases, that language just never develops. They have difficulties in the communication domain with taking turns. So if they say something and when they say something, it's often not in a reciprocal kind of give and take way. They have difficulty remaining engaged in conversations. Very often what we hear and what we see in the communication domain is stereotyped kind of communication. So they'll often repeat a phrase or repeat a sound or repeat a word. And they may also be echolalic. They may repeat something that someone else says. They may echo the actual words that someone else has said. Again, in the communication domain, individuals with autism have difficulty taking the listener perspective. They have difficulty understanding and responding to humor. Innuendo is very difficult for them. And again, as mentioned before in the social interaction area, they tend to be concrete and focus on their self-needs as opposed to the needs of others around them. In terms of their behavior, very often individuals on the autism spectrum focus on parts or pieces of things and not the whole. They may focus on a button on a shirt, or they may focus on the wheels of a truck, but not necessarily how that truck works or that a button is part of a piece of clothing that has a particular function. They often have preoccupation, so they may be preoccupied with toothbrushes, or they may be preoccupied with certain kinds of toys or certain kinds of objects around the house. They have a very high need for sameness. Routines are very frustrating for them, and transitions tend to be very, very difficult. Classic kinds of autism often are evidenced in some rocking behavior. So there's a rocking back and forth of the whole body. There may be some flapping behavior, which could be arms or legs or both. And what I call twiddling, which is taking something and shaking it in your hand or moving it back and forth